just a few with the mask, but that pretty much shows COVID is over. So great meeting you all on this session. No, maybe I'll just start. It was a fascinating session. We had just before where how do we do innovation and how technology can play a big role. Just a couple of facts, right? I was just going through a survey. 80% of the consumers, particularly in a post-COVID world, are going through multiple channels for experiences and commerce. And another interesting fact is 70% of them expect the brands and the companies to reciprocate, which essentially means that they want them to understand how they're buying, why they're buying, and from where they're buying. Right. I'm Praveen Govindu, partner with Deloitte Consulting Practice, and I have with me Rachit, who heads product at Unicommerce, and we thought we'll try and articulate and expand our understanding on how technology can really enable omni-channel commerce for us. So Rachit, maybe I can probably start off, with a quick question, right? A lot of brands, in our industry, we speak to a lot of clients, right? So there are two or three important things that always come out, right? One view of customer, one view of inventory, one view of product, one view of sales. So, how do you think, from your perspective, each of these business priorities, driving the goals of omni-channel?
Hello, everyone. So, I'll start with how Vineet and I left this conversation. It's like, as he mentioned, that customers are not purchasing items. Customers are actually going for a shopping experience. Shopping is more about experience and less about purchasing items. And as you already mentioned, that people are wanting the brands to reciprocate. So when omnichannel was conceived in the first place, it was mostly focused on the shopping experience of the customer. So it was like some 10 years back it happened, but eventually it didn't click off. The reason was that the shopping experience, when the customer was experiencing shopping, demanding a shopping experience, they were expecting online order, offline return, maybe these sort of capabilities, but the merchants were not in a position to reciprocate these demands with a methodology where their top line and bottom line was actually involved. So ultimately, this thing actually clicked off when the entire offering set of offerings was actually directly related to top line and bottom line. When I say top line, I mean things like endless aisle came into picture, wherein you actually help a customer buy a product. So I go to a store, I watch a T-shirt, I find it interesting, but I don't get a size, and that's a lost sale. So endless aisle came to offer it's a shopping experience as well as top line. Another thing, for example, people started giving online order and offline exchanges. So otherwise, what happened that people purchase items and they used to return it online. But if you compel them to give some discount and go to store and exchange these items, it's not a lost sale anymore. Uh, in terms of bottom line, people are looking to get it delivered from the nearest store possible. Maybe even to the extent that sometimes what happens that a product is being dispatched from maybe Delhi to a Bangalore customer and it is returned to a Bangalore store directly in case of return. Why do I need to spend so much cost sending the product back to Delhi? So it's like cost reduction. Another thing which actually happened when COVID happened, and suddenly one fine day, inventory of millions of dollars were like lying in the store, unutilized, and at the same time, these merchants had to pay the rent of the stores as well. So that was a actual eureka moment where all these brands felt the need of omnichannel rather than seeing this as a buzzword. Before that, some 5 years or 6 years back, omnichannel was a buzzword, and most of the brands were looking into omnichannel from the perspective of fear of missing out. But now they have actually seen the values, and a lot of brands are like into omnichannel for the same reason.
Great, Rajit. In fact, you touched upon a very important point, right? Recently, I was at a client location. We were doing a meeting, and we had the entire leadership of the client, in the room. And one of the questions the CEO asked, and more to the leadership and not to the consultant, thankfully, was, okay, we are going to invest in omni channel, but can you know can all of you leaders guarantee that we will have an ROI coming out of this, because the investments are huge, right? And we'll come to the investments in technology in a bit. So is there an ROI, or is it a capability development exercise, and probably there is no ROI? So it's an absolutely crucial point in omnichannel, how it's going to impact the top line, how it's going to impact profitability and the entire productivity elements. On that note, Rachit, I would just also want to understand, and if you can touch upon this topic around, while omni-channel seems or is probably many things to many people, how do you define omni-channel, let's say from a technology standpoint? I mean, is there a perfect tech stack? And if companies implement the tech stack, their omni-channel will go live, they'll be able to provide a seamless consumer experience across channels. So is there something like that? Any views, your thoughts on that?
Uh, so let me just touch upon the offering. What omni-channel is? Omni-channel is actually offering multiple services via multiple channels in a seamless manner, wherein I don't, as a customer, I don't differentiate between multiple channels. For what these services are in supply chain, these services are like shopping, reshopping, loyalty system, maybe a customer relationship system, uh, uh, maybe return, exchange, these all are services, and people want a enhanced shopping experience and brands want to give all these services across all these platforms. So I just forgot your question.
Yeah. So essentially, is there a perfect tech
Yeah, okay.
stack
Yeah.
that can address this?
See, there has to be a tech stack. I mean, the problem with omnichannel is that these tech stack are actually disparate systems of multiple systems. There is a POS system involved. There is a warehousing system involved. There is an order aggregation system involved. There is a CRM involved, and similarly, there are some necessity in terms of newer systems. For example, there are also user management systems which have to kick in to manage a common users across these multiple platforms. There has to be a common catalog management system, because here we are talking to multiple different systems, and that actually makes the offering more complicated. And to answer your other question, wherein it means a different thing for different sort of users, yes, obviously, many a times when we have actually talked to multiple merchants, we have seen that uh, people are very many times people are confused of what actually omni-channel is. Now, actually, omni-channel is very different for different set of clients. For example, a client like Reliance Trends, a customer like Reliance Trends, they actually want an endless aisle solution so that a customer walking in the store does not and then do not lose sale just because that particular piece was not present in this store. For a seller or merchant like Chumbak or Apollo Pharmacy, it's like ship from store. Because in terms of pharmaceutical industry and grocery industry, obviously, these two industries are where the criticality of delivery is very, very high, and you have to deliver it within a very short span of time, maybe a few hours. And that brings you to a solution where you have to dispatch all the online orders, not from the warehouse, but from the store. For other clients who are dealing in white goods, like maybe home center or paper fry, they give an offer of shop from store, get at home. You don't want to pick a AC from Chroma or a furniture uh, from a paper fry and take it via your transport mode. You want to get it delivered at your home and installed at your home. That's another set of omni-channel. Some that Decathlon again has aged it in a very different manner, which is click and collect. So you need a bicycle. You have there's a there's an assembly time which is needed, and this assembly actually requires something around an hour or so. You cannot go to store and wait. Many a times people go and like order online and just collect the product offline. This is like offering from Decathlon perspective. If we talk about other industries, maybe a Kama Ayurveda would be is more focused on how do you integrate the loyalty points using a common loyalty point system. Again, has to be a common stack again. So I think these sort of different use cases are there for different sort of industries. There are fashion industries, online order, offline return is a feature which people are offering. In maybe other industries, there are some upcoming features which have not yet been launched, but maybe will be launched, that I might want to integrate a offer and promotion. So I go to a shopper stop, I get a offer of get buy two get one free, but I don't get three products worth it. So I can find two items. Can I get one remaining item online? So this is next level of integration. I mean, it's not easy to be done, and hence it's not yet been implemented. But in a couple of years, maybe with the pace omnichannel is actually going into, these things will also come into picture. Yeah.
Great. So what I understood is omni-channel could mean different things for different brands. It is contextual to their journey, their objectives, and probably in some places they may implement a CRM system to get a one view of customer. In some places probably a commerce portal with an OMS, right? But what I gather is this could be different, and probably everyone has to evaluate what is it that they're really looking at driving through an omni-channel roadmap, right? So the other thing I also wanted to, yeah,
Just
please.
to add to it, most of the interactions which we have had with our clients, they actually start with one simple feature, like, okay, ship from store. That's what I start with. And then probably I'll 6 months down the line and go with endless aisle. None of them actually go big bang with omnichannel.
Correct. In fact, just to reciprocate with that again, coming into a client context, right? Same thing. We started by talking about, okay, one view of customer. Okay, we can't have one view of customer across multiple channels without promoting loyalty. Then there was a loyalty management system that got added. Then OMS. Then commerce, martech. So it actually keeps adding. Maybe that's also the beauty of omni-channel tech, that you probably can't just have one. So Rachit, what do you think will be potential challenges, or maybe what should brands or companies really keep in mind? What are those critical success factors which will be important for them as they embark on an omni-channel journey?
Uh, when I talk about the challenges of omnichannel, I have seen that there are four categories of challenges actually. Yeah, four categories of challenges. One is operational challenge, wherein one is operational, one is finance and accounting challenge, the third is behavioral problem, and the fourth is technology. I'll explain one by one. When I say about operational challenges, you need to have a delivery fleet picking the order from the store and delivering it to customers. Now, this is not actually the delivery fleet is not that advanced in India that it can pick from store in tier 3 or tier 4 cities. Thereby, that's a problem of forward delivery. Another problem is that these stores wherein you are dispatching the orders from, they are not capable enough to manage the returns. Returns is a very complex problem in the entire supply chain. You need to quality check, validate, maybe refurbish the item in the case of return. Stores are not capable of that. So returns, so these sort of operational challenges are there, returns and maybe forward delivery and return delivery. The second set of challenges, finance and accounting. So if an item is dispatched from a warehouse from location 1 and is returned to location 2, how do you account for the inventory? How do you account for the finances? Like, it goes in different location, both having different GST number, financial reconciliation. It's very difficult. And the problem is even more when we are talking about franchisee stores. So this is the second problem. The third problem is actually a teething problem, which is more related to the behavioral issue of the store staffs. So from what I have seen, maybe from by talking to some of the store staff directly, Elsa's shoes and maybe Essex also. So these and W Aurelia as well. So these store staff actually feel that the people walking in the store are their actual customers, and an online order is just an order. And one day brand might choose to switch this online order away from us to their warehouse. So we will no longer be relevant, and hence I want to reserve my inventory only for offline orders because these are my actual customers. So you need to incentivize them. How do you incentivize them? How do you track them? At the same time, if a store staff is not accepting an order for 6 hours or 1 day or 2 day, the brand cannot keep on waiting because it's actually hampering the customer experience. So this is the behavioral challenge. The fourth is the biggest challenge over here. The challenge is mostly related to the integration of the multiple tech stacks we have been talking about, the CRM system, the OMS system, the WMS system, and the loyalty point system, and so on. So how do you integrate these systems? How do you ensure that these systems talk to each other in a seamless manner and a real-time manner? It's not actually possible because many a times what happened that India is a country where POS system were evolved in 1990s and they were offline first POS systems. And these systems talk to their server only once a day. But you have to like get the online orders to the offline stores in a real time. But it's not possible. So you have to build in buffers. But all these problems have to solve. Some of the problems can be solved uh, to a utmost extent using technology, but there are obviously some barriers. We cannot solve all the problems. Uh, Obviously, with this omni-channel coming into picture, most of the brands are actually migrating away from the offline first POS to the newer age cloud-based POS, cloud-based CRM systems, and so on. Yeah, so that's, I
So
think
that's
these
very
were the four
interesting,
problems.
right? I think you touched upon a very important point around, uh, let's say, how do you resolve the conflict of margins or profitability between channels, right? And this is, I'm sure, a lot of people here will resonate with this. The online commerce, the offline commerce are typically held as separate P&Ls. And once you become an omni-channel, what is the incentive for online to support offline, offline to support online, right? And it also has implications on the organization structure. And that's one conversation we also have a lot with organizations and companies where they're saying, okay, how should the organization structure evolve to meet the omni-channel requirements of a customer, right? So I think these are pertinent
I'll
points.
actually add a point over here, add an example over. So Nykaa is selling products at NykaaMan.com and Nykaa.com. Now they're also selling the men's beauty products at Nykaa.com. But the same product is sold at two websites. How do you manage the PNL and how do you manage the inventory availability across inventory bifurcation across these platforms? Not easy. And that actually the point which Praveen was mentioning, it actually complicates the system.
Correct. And in fact, one more complication is franchisees, right? A lot of retail brands in India have franchisees who operate the retail stores. And we were implementing an omni-channel system at a client, a consumer electronics brand, and all the stores were run by franchisees. And their first question was, what's in it for me, right? Okay, you're putting a CRM, a pause. You will take all the data from us. You're putting your own portal, but how do we ensure you retain confidentiality of customer data? That this is my customer. So some of these challenges are, I think, very pertinent. But great. I'll just end with this one last quick rapid fire, Rachit, for you. No sweat, but just a few things. First, just tell the first word that comes to your mind. Uh, and just this is also for the audience to remember that we are talking about technology here. So CRM.
Fresh desk.
Sorry.
Fresh desk.
Okay. Uh, Commerce.
E-commerce.
E-commerce.
Amazon.
Amazon. Uh, Marketing technology, martech or marketing automation.
Don't I don't have a specific name over here.
Okay. What about PIM?
Again, not a very specific name.
Sure. And OMS.
Unicommerce, obviously.
Great. No, thanks, Rachit, and thanks for your great insights. It's been a pleasure interacting with you. And like Rachit has said, I think for us as a journey, for a lot of companies which are looking at omni-channel, the key takeaways are, clearly articulate our business priorities, set some quantifiable targets, right, both on the revenue side, profitability side, and then ensure that, a lot of these challenges are understood well ahead in time, and set in place a governance structure and probably an operating model which can seamlessly work across the various touch points of the customer. Yeah. So thank you so much.